us and what's happening?
All right, I am Jeremy Verratti from Verratti Farms LLC. We're in Gasport, New York. A little ways, probably 40 minutes away from your school, I believe. And we milk 400, milking and dry, they call it 450 cows. This is some of them here. And so we're obviously a full-scale dairy farm. And you can see this is their, this is where they eat. This is called the sort of the feed bunk. And then that you can probably hear over there is where they go to the bathroom. And,
I heard something over there.
And then you can see they're in deep bed sand stalls. It's kind of where they lay. So they're laying on sand all day long. And so we also, sort of in our spare time, we work, cultivate and work and plant 2,300 acres.
Wow.
We do corn, soybeans, and wheat.
Okay.
So anyway, that's kind of what we do every day.
Hey Jeremy, some of the things, by the way, just getting the pictures of all these cows, there's a lot of cows here. Do you have is there another barn or is it just this one?
Oh yeah, there's a lot more barns than this. This is roughly, I think, 200 of the 450 we milk.
Wow.
And then beyond that, we have young stock. So we raise call young stocks for calves and heifers. There's another 400, as they call them, replacements. So as the herd moves along, that's raising all those animals. So there's a total of 950 head here.
Do you think that you'll be able to show us how they get milked and stuff?
Yes, I believe we're going to go
Cool.
in there.
All right. Hey Jared, I got a question for you. One of the things that we're learning in the economics class is the difference between like fixed costs and variable costs. And now students, I'm sure you remember, fixed costs are going to be those costs that stay the same. They don't vary with output. And variable costs are costs that vary with output. So I'm wondering, Jeremy, if you can give us some real life examples of like what you would consider here in your farm, like a fixed cost and a variable cost. What would be some examples?
That's a great question, Mark. And students,
Well,
I want
thank
to
you.
tell you that I took business at school, and I remember all of these concepts he's talking about. I use them every day without fail.
Great.
No, I'm just kidding. So anyway, this right here, so this barn, this concrete, and this facility would be an example of a fixed cost.
Okay.
So we put this barn out in, I believe it was 2007.
All right.
And this facility here, I believe, costs us somewhere in the neighborhood of $1,500 a stall, something like that. So this is like I think it's roughly a $300,000 facility.
Okay.
That's something, obviously that's a fixed cost. It's set, you amortize it over a certain amount of years, whatever. A good idea, a good example of a variable cost, and this is a great one, because this is generally the biggest cost on a farm is feed, and this is it right here.
All right.
So in this right here, you got corn salad, you can see chopped up corn, haylage, which we make ourselves, but then in here there's little grains and stuff, protein and various other things. We pay a guy to balance this for us. It's very important that the cow is healthy and fed well every day.
Yeah.
So we pay a guy to balance that for us, and those costs are variable, and that's where it's kind of on a per cow basis. So that changes as we sort of have more cows or less cows and that type of thing. This can be a very expensive proposition. So this is something, as a variable cost, this is something we manage very intensively, where this bunk here needs to be empty by tomorrow morning. So
wow.
This group of cows is going to eat all this feed all the way down this line
wow.
by tomorrow morning at about 7:30 when we feed them again.
Wow. Okay. Well, Jared, do you want to go check out that's a great example. So this is, I can see clearly the variable and the fixed. Want to go check out the milking part?
Sure. Yeah, let's head in there. That'll be fun.
Okay. Hi, Jeremy. I see we're walking over to where they're being milked, but I see that you've got this little calf. What's happening here?
Yeah,
what do you got?
A new little bull calf. He's just
huge.
To stand up.
Yeah.
He's really, really healthy. Beautiful little calf. He's born yesterday.
Wow.
He's only a day old, so just figure we stop and say hi.
That is amazing. Wow.
Yeah.
Goodness.
So, yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Say good night, mister.
All right. Thanks, Jared. Hi, Jer. We're in this high-tech room here. What is this all about?
Well, if you look, this is a milking parlor.
All right.
So these units right here.
All right. Let me get a picture here.
Hang up on here.
All right.
And they kind of go in and out, and that's what milks the cow, and this is the control panel.
Oh, you mean you don't do this? You don't?
No, this is an AIC control panel. So you hit this button, and it basically goes on the cow. And then from there, when she's done, when there's no more milk coming out, it comes off automatically.
Wow. Is there's something that actually goes on them?
Yeah, this here.
These things here.
Yeah, these will flip over. This is in wash mode right now, so it's getting ready to wash the whole unit, and we'll wash the outside and inside.
All right.
The milk goes in here,
all right,
and then gets sucked up into here, and it ends up going up into the pipeline. It ends up down in here. This pipeline here it goes, and then it goes out to the milk tank.
All right.
That's where it's sold. So.
Now, what is the name of your company? I mean, what's the milk? If we were to go to the store, what are we buying?
That's a great question, Mark. You'd be buying. It's Upstate Niagara Cooperative is who we sell to. So the three key brand names are Upstate Farms.
All right.
Bison Dip.
Yeah.
And Intense Milk.
Oh, Bison Dip.
Yes, sir. That's our brand. So under those three, it's about a 360 member cooperative, all in Western New York.
Yeah.
Some a little further out, but mainly in Western New York, Wyoming County, Niagara County, Orleans, and Erie, and several others. And then there's various other private labels. For example, they sell a lot to Wegmans. Do a lot of private label, which for those of you who are private label would be like Wegmans or Tim Hortons or McDonald's would come to Upstate Niagara and say, hey, make us this yogurt or make us this milk, and they put their own brand on it, but it's actually us that's doing the work, and our product we sell to them for them to pass along. So.
Now, Jeremy, one of the things we're going to learn today in class is this concept of when a business should... Oh, hey, Jared, let me ask you a question. One of the important topics we're going to talk about in school today is going to be when a business should shut down and when they should exit a market. So let me give you a couple of examples, or let me ask you a couple of questions. How do you sell milk? Do you sell it like, I go to the store and buy it by the gallon. Is that how you sell it to Upstate? Or how do you do that?
No, Mark, no, that's a good question, because I think that's a big misconception. No, we don't sell it by the gallon. We sell it per 100 pounds.
All right.
So if you want to do the math back to a gallon, it's pretty easy to do, depending on the components. In other words, depending on the content of fat and protein and other solids in the milk.
Yeah.
The weight can vary a little bit, but usually it's 8.6 pounds per gallon.
All right.
So if you'd like to do it back to gallon, that's up to you. But how we sell it is per 100 pounds, or as we say it in the industry, per 100 weight is what they say.
So we were looking before at variable costs and fixed costs. So could you just throw out, this is just real raw, very vague numbers, but what do you think on a per 100 weight, just roughly for some context, fixed and variable costs? How much would be your fixed and what's your variable? What do you think?
Say we're getting paid $20 per 100 weight.
All right.
Fixed could be for mortgage and all the the various things you would have fixed on a business. Would be say $8.
All right.
And then your variable, so your feed, labor, and various other variable costs would be 10. So
all right.
So it'd be $18 total expense. You'd be clearing 2.
So let's just say, for example, you looked out ahead for the next 3 to 4 months. So it's short term, but long enough, not just for a few days. And let's say the price of 100-pound milk, or whatever, however you say it, per 100 pound,
weight, yeah.
Dropped to $16. So your costs are 18, you're selling it for 16, you're losing money. But would you say, listen, we're going to just stop the business, or how might you consider, what might you do if that were to happen, just for like a 3 or 4 month period?
Okay, so usually within those times, you would hope that you have, because of say the feast you've had before and sort of a time of famine, you'd be able to manage through those times with either burning through other equity or just be able to manage through it. Because this isn't a business, this has got sort of high barriers of entry. It's difficult to get in and out of. It's not a business you can jump in and out of overnight.
I can see that, yeah.
Yeah, so we would do that because of our management setup and because everything's set up here. We would stay in the business through that time period. If it got to be extensive, it might be a different story.
So, and I guess part of it, one of the concepts we're to learn today in school about in the short term, a business will stay running in the short term if it minimally covers its variable cost. So you were saying variable costs, I think we said we're around 10. So it's $16. I mean, you're covering your variables and you got some to go to your fixed. So it's a loser, but it's only a loser for 3-4 months. You're right. You're going to kind of ride out your equity. Now, let me just bounce a question off of you. If for some reason in the short term, next 3-4 months, milk prices were going to go down to like $5 a hundredweight, you don't even have enough money to cover your feed and other things, you know, what would that change your decision?
Yes, definitely. I mean, because you only have so much sort of stores of equity. You only have so much you can do with a banker and different things to get through those difficult times. And
yeah.
I think it's difficult. I know for us, we're obviously priced sort of the beginning of the year where milk is pretty steady. It's sort of, there's not huge ups and downs over an annual basis. Usually at the beginning of the year, they can kind of tell you where your costs are what you're going to get paid throughout the year. So it wouldn't be as much of a surprise, but $5 a hundred is really tough. And I'll give you an example. I mean, in 2009, I think I mentioned this earlier, we got paid more like $12, between $11 and $12 a hundredweight. And that was like we got paid that for the average of the better part of a year.
Wow.
And we had some serious talks about getting out of the business. I mean, we were barely able, along with a lot of guys in the dairy industry. A lot didn't make it that year, but we had some serious talks about getting out of the industry at that point.
What would happen if you project, by the way, so students, one of the topics we're going to talk about is the difference between a shutdown and an exit. And we'll learn more about that in a few minutes. So it sounds like you guys got very close to what's called an exit. And so let me ask you a question, Jer. If you forecasted out that milk was going to be at like 11 or 12 bucks a hundredweight for the years out in the future, not just that 1 year, 2009, but 11. I mean, just out into the future, you saw no change. What might your decision been at that point if you saw it?
Tag it off.
Go to some,
yeah.
Do something different.
We're diversified some, and I think I mentioned earlier we work 2,300 acres. Right now, you know, corn and soybeans and wheat, the prices are okay, and we could even end up getting into some sort of fruit or vegetable crop as well and diversify more that way. But if you're going to continue to lose money in one aspect of your business, or if that is your only aspect, just in that area, then yeah, I think it's smart to get out, especially at those kind of numbers.
Now, Jer, I think that's great. Students, we'll get into that in a little bit. Last question, maybe most important. You know, what have you heard about the economics professor over at the school? Any comments about that?
I've heard he's a pretty good guy. It depends. It depends. I know my new son Jack. He's a
Jack. I love Jack.
Yeah, he's awesome. He thinks you're great, but he hasn't really gotten to know you yet. So we're not sure how that's going to go in the store. But no, overall, students, I think you're pretty lucky to have Mr. Mark Sr. here as a professor. I know when I took business, I went to UB, and I had some disastrous professors, so you're lucky to have
all right, students, thank you. Jeremy, thank you, and don't forget that, ladies and gentlemen. I'll see you now. Bye.